A 30-minute full body practice is what we have today, maximizing our time on the mat, working pretty much all the muscle groups in the body, building up strength, increasing our flexibility and toning of our muscles. If you have a block, keep it close by. We do have a half moon transition and a block might be handy there. And if you are in a habit of using block during your regular practice, that will also help. Other than that, you just need a mat, some space and 30 minutes of your time. Be grateful and focus on every small single progress that you're making. It doesn't have to be huge. These are small practices and small gains that will have a compounded huge impact towards whatever you're trying to achieve. Please do consider subscribing to the channel, and whenever you're ready, I'll meet you on the mat. If you do need a warm up before you get into the practice, add in a few rounds of sun salutations or cat-cow stretches or whatever floats your boat. I'll see you on the mat. Come to the front of the mat. In Tadasana, your feet are hip distance apart. Bring your palms to your chest in prayer. Next breath, sweep your arms all the way up. Gaze follows your palms. Fold forward. Halfway lift. Bring your palms down onto the mat, or you can have it on your shin bones, and slowly start shifting your weight towards the ball mounds of your feet. Move your shoulders away from your ears. Open your sit bones up towards the sky. Work towards bringing your belly towards your thighs. Remember these cues every time you come into a half lift. You should feel a nice stretch in your hamstrings. Step back into plank. Flow through Chaturanga. Come into an upward facing dog or a cobra. Lift your hips up. Downward facing dog. We'll start building the fire right off the bat. Turn your palms lightly inwards. You can choose to float your right leg or stay in your down dog. We'll take few rounds of down dog push-ups. Every exhale, bring the crown of your head closer to the mat, bending at your elbows. One more. Look towards your palms. Bring your right knee into your chest. Hold your tiger crunch. Right knee comes down onto the mat. Right shin parallel to the short edge. Open up in a supported side plank. Squeeze your bottom hip towards the front. So you're stacking your hips on top of each other. Engage your core. Bring your top arm in line with your ear. Float your extended leg. Next breath, bend your elbows, bend your left knee, take a crunch and extend. 2, 3, 4, 5. Come back into your supported side plank. Stack your shoulders directly over your hips. Open your arms out in a T. Bring your left palm to rest on your left thigh. Gaze towards your right palm. Extend your right hand alongside your ear. Gate pose. Release back into a T. Come back into your supported side plank. Squeeze your bottom hip towards the front. 2 more of those. Come up into a T. Gate pose. Release into a side plank. Last one. Up into a T. Come into a side gate pose, release into a supported side plank, engage your glutes, come back up into a T. This time twist your chest towards your extended leg, flex your left foot and fold forward. Stretching your hamstrings, come back up. 2 more. You can have your palms behind your head if that helps, or you can have it out in a T. Come back up. Bring your palms back down onto the mat. Chest is squared down towards the mat. Come back into your tiger crunch, pulling your right knee into your chest. Float your right leg back. Three-legged downward dog. Float forward into a plank. Optional to keep your right leg floating. Flow through your chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Lift your hips up. Downward facing dog. Take a deep breath. Float your heels. Bend at your knees. Gaze towards your palms. Either hop or walk. Your feet come to the front of the mat. Halfway lift. Remember the cues. Fold forward. Lift all the way back up to Tadasana. Next in breath, you can choose to float your heels for extra challenge on your core. Sweep your arms all the way up. Fold forward. Halfway lift, palm the mat. Open your sit bones up towards the sky. Step back into plank. Flow through your chaturanga. Come up. Lift your hips. Downward facing dog. Optional to float your left leg. Turn your palms slightly inwards and take 5 downward dog push-ups. Bend your elbows and push back up. Keep the back of your neck long. You can do these push-ups staying in your downward dog. Release. Bring your left knee into chest. Hold your tiger crunch. Bring your left knee down. Left shin parallel to the short edge of the mat. Open up into a supported side plank. Squeeze your bottom hip towards the front. Stack your hips. Extend your right hand alongside your ear. Float your right leg. Bend your right elbow, right knee. Take a crunch and extend. 2, 3, 4, 5. Come back into your supported side plank. Stack your shoulders over your hips. Right palm comes on top of your right leg. Gaze towards your left hand. Extend your left hand up alongside your ear. Gate. Release back into supported side plank. Come up into gate. Release back. Supported side plank. Back into gate. Supported side plank. Come back up into your T. Open your chest towards your extended leg. Flex your right foot. Fold forward, keeping the back long, reaching through the crown of your head. And come back up. 2 more. Come back up. Last one. Back up. Palm the mat. Square your chest down towards the mat. Pull your left knee back into the chest. Float your left leg. Three-legged dog. Shift your weight forward. Come into plank. Flow through chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Lift your hips up. Downward facing dog. Float your heels. Bend at your knees. Travel to the front of the mat. Halfway lift. Fold forward. Come all the way back up to Tadasana. Engage your core. Float your heels. Sweep your arms all the way up. Add a mini back bend, standing back bend by cactusing your arms and opening your chest up towards the sky. Release your arms, fold forward. Halfway lift, palm the mat. Step your right leg back. Arms come alongside your ears. High crescent lunge. Bring your back foot down on the mat. Check your alignment. Make sure that your front heel and your back arch are in line with each other. Open up your arms in a T, coming into a warrior two. Flip your left palm, bring your gaze towards your left palm, transition into reverse warrior. Work your left palm on the inside of your left leg or on top of your left thigh, coming into side angle. Bring your top arm in line with your ears. For an extra challenge, bring your bottom arm hand to meet your right. Hold your side angle here. Extend your bent leg, transition into triangle. Engage your sides, come all the way up, reverse triangle. Release back, warrior two. Bring your chest to face the front of the mat, high crescent lunge. Open your arms out in a T, take a twist. You can bring your left palm on the outside of your right thigh, deepening your twist. Release your twist, roll onto your back foot. Bring your hips towards your right heel, sit all the way down into Skandasana. Take a breath. Plant your left foot, bend your left knee, shift towards your left ankle, right palm on the inside of your left leg, easy twist. Bring your left palm down, frame your front foot, step back into plank, knees come down onto the mat, shift your hips back, come into a child's pose. Shift forward, hips come down into a cobra, shift back into child's. Shift forward into cobra, shift back into child's. Come forward into cobra, and this time as you shift back, stack your shoulders over your knees. Engage your lower abs. You can use your palms to support your lower back. Squeeze your glutes and work your hips towards the front of the mat. Open your chest up towards the sky. If you can go all the way into your camel, you can work your palms on tops towards the top of your heels. Release your camel. Bring your sit bones in between your feet and take a breath. Come back into plank. Flow through Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Lift your hips up. Downward facing dog. Turn your palms slightly inwards. Optional to float your right leg. Take 5 downward dog push-ups. I like to sneak in these strength and toning work into my practice, but that's completely optional. Come back into plank, back into downward dog. Float your heels, bend your knees, travel to the front of the mat. Halfway lift, fold forward. Come all the way back up, Tadasana. Next in breath, float your heels, sweep your arms all the way up. Take a mini back bend, cactus your arms, open your chest up towards the sky. Release your arms, fold forward. Halfway lift, plant your palms, puff your chest down towards the mat. Step your left leg back, arms come alongside your ears, high crescent lunge. Squeeze your inner thighs, plant your back foot, open up warrior two, check your alignment, gaze towards your right palm, reverse warrior. Bring your right palm on the inside of your right leg or rest it on top of your right thigh. Side angle. Extend your top arm alongside your ears. Extra core work. Bring your bottom arm to touch your top arm. Hold your side angle. Extend your bent leg. Transition into triangle. Engage your core and your obliques. Transition reverse triangle. Back to warrior 2. Face the front of the mat. Come into high crescent lunge. Open your arms out in a T. Take a twist. Deepening your twist by bringing your right palm on the outside of your left thigh. Release your twist. Shift your hips towards your back ankle. Extend your right leg. Flex your right foot. Skandasana. Plant your right leg. Bend your knee. Shift forward. Take an easy twist. Frame your front foot. Step back plank. Bring your knees down. Shift your hips back. Child's pose. Shift forward. Hips come down into cobra. Shift back into child's. Shift forward cobra. Shift back into child's pose. Shift forward into cobra. This time, as you come back, stack your hips, stack your shoulders over your knees and take any variation of camel that suits you today. Release your camel. Bring your sit bones in between your feet. Take a deep breath. Back to plank. Float through Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Lift your hips. Downward facing dog. Turn your palms slightly inwards. Float your left leg. Take your downward dog push-ups. Back to downward facing dog. Float your heels, bend at your knees, travel to the front of the mat. Halfway lift, fold forward. Come all the way back up to standing. Next in breath, float your arms up, float your heels. Take a standing back bend, cactus your arms, open your chest up towards the sky. Extend your arms alongside your ears, sit your hips back, chair variation. Bring your palms to your chest. Hook your left elbow on the outside of your right thigh. Take a twist. Bring your gaze down towards the mat. Shift your weight onto your left foot and float your right leg. Slowly come up into standing. Keep your twist for as long as possible. Extend your right leg, grabbing hold on the knife edge side of your right foot, deepening your twist. Release your twist. Catch your right foot behind you. Engage your core. Square your hips to the front of the mat and play with floating into dancers. Release your dancer. Back to one-legged Tadasana. Palms at your chest. Float your right leg back. Hinge at your hips. Come into warrior 3. This is where you can use a block. Bring the block few inches in front of your left foot. Stack your hips. Transition into half moon. Release your half moon back into your chair. Come all the way up to Tadasana. Bring your feet slightly wider than hip distance. Turn them slightly out and sit into Malasana. Take a deep breath. If you want to make this more challenging, you can extend your arms alongside your ears. Back to prayer arms. Come all the way to standing. Heel toe to Tadasana. Float your arms, float your heels. Take a standing back bend. Cactus your arms. Open your chest up towards the sky. Extend your hands. Sit your hips down. Come into chair. Palms come to chest. Hook your right elbow on the outside of your left knee. Take a twist in your chair. Bring the gaze down onto the mat. Shift your weight onto your right foot. Start to bring your left knee into your chest. Try to keep the twist for as long as possible. Grab hold on the knife edge side of your left foot. Take a twist. Release your twist. Catch your left foot behind you. Square your hips to the front of the mat and float into dancers. Release your dancers as gracefully as you can. Bring your palms to your chest in prayer. Hinge at your hips. Float your left leg back. Warrior 3. Bring your block slightly in front of your right foot. Stack your hips. Transition into half moon. Release your half moon back into chair. Come up to Tadasana. Step slightly wider than hip distance. Sit into Malasana. Take a breath. Extend your arms alongside your ears for an extra challenge. From here, bring your sit bones down onto the mat. Extend your legs and we'll take a forward fold. Optional to use a block in front of your feet. Spread your sit bones on the mat. Extend your arms alongside your ears. Fold forward. If you are using a block, grab hold on the fingers, wrap around the edges of the block. Keep the back of your neck long and work your shoulders away from your ears. Pull up on your kneecaps. Release your forward fold. We'll end our practice in a back bend. Meet me down on the mat and you can choose your variation of the back bend, or you can just end your practice in Shavasana or add any asanas that you like into your practice. Push, the weight is on your heels, tuck your tailbone, squeeze your glutes, lift your hips up towards the sky, bring your palms on the outside of your ears. Next out breath, push the mat away from you as you lift your shoulders off the mat into your back bend. Work your shoulders on your chest towards your palms. Don't overextend your wrists. Release your back bend. Hug your knees into your chest. Roll your back. Stack your hips directly over your shoulders. You can support your lower back with your palms. The weight is on your upper arm, it's not on your neck. Hold your shoulder stand. Bend at your knees. Bring your knees to your forehead. Extend your legs. Bring your toes down onto the ground behind your head. Work towards reaching your heels away from you as much as possible. And your knees are moving away from your face. Bend your knees, release from your plow, and we'll end our practice in Shavasana. Come back to your normal breathing, consolidate your practice, show gratitude towards your beautiful body for everything that it lets you do, and take a few minutes for yourself. Thank you so much for choosing to practice with me. Please do subscribe, and I'll see you on the mat with another practice.